name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Tonight's guest is Max Bendich, social media superstar. Hey, Max. How are you, Pop?
How are you, my son?
Great. So,
you look good.
Good. We have some exciting news, right? That this week there's a couple of things happening, I guess. You're going to be interviewed by the Daily News. I guess Cathay House, where you live, has their promotion department has seen The Way to Go, because you have all those on we have it on YouTube.
Yes.
And they're aware of the other movies you've been in and Scriptless and all this. So first they contacted the Daily News, the New York Times. And the New York Times said, I don't know, another fluff piece about an older guy. And they kind of passed a little bit.
All right.
But then Alex, the person in charge of the promotions for Cathay House, called me up saying, tell your father that the Daily News is going to interview him this week. So are you excited?
Naturally. I think, you know, one thing, I was already on the Daily News.
Right.
It was on Valentine's Day. He came over to Cathay House and wanted to know how we were talking about how we're going to spend Valentine's Day. And at that time, so a lady and me, and there were 3 couples,
Right.
and they took pictures. And Alan, when the picture, I'm laughing, when the pictures came out, you know, it was a half a page in the Daily News. Who was on the? You should have seen my page.
I know. Not only that, it's still on. It's online. You can see those pictures. Is that the one that you were kissing your girlfriend? I think that's the one. My daughter Kara almost had a stroke. She's like, "Oh no, Zadie! I can't believe it." But yeah, that was a nice picture.
It was a wonderful picture. But the way, of course, the other 2 couples, they were also they're
Right.
now good people.
And one of the other 2 couples, the lady, was your first girlfriend after your first girlfriend. She was with another guy. So I'll never forget those pictures. But this is going to be a little different. This interview is going to be talking about your new career, you know, and really, I guess it all got started on this show, right?
On this show.
On The Way to Go.
And by you.
Well, that's okay.
No,
but Daddy, you've always been kind of a ham all the time.
I was a ham.
Even when when you worked in the when you went to the senior citizen clubs when you were younger, you were always doing dramatic performances. You did The Prodigal Son.
I did the prodigal. I was a father, and when you told me we were going to thinking about The Prodigal Son, all I remember was this. We had a sheet.
Right.
And I tore the sheet and I put it over me because it was at the time of Moses and the rest of them.
Yeah.
But we have 3 women.
Right.
And they made a plot, a painting. And the painting must have been about 20 feet. And on the painting, so you saw sheep and you saw cows and people working. And I was with a beard. And what Alan, I remember, and what was the beard? A wig. And Alan.
I know. I remember the pictures.
I looked good. Alan, I looked good.
And you loved it.
And not only
and you wrote it.
I don't remember.
No, you did. You wrote the actual script.
I don't remember.
So then I remember when we first started to think about Scriptless, that was the first episode we did was The Prodigal Son, and Noah, who's one of our actors, who's a good friend of mine, played your other son, and he was the prodigal son, and I'm the one who stayed with you, and it was fun. I did that as an homage to you, because you did that, the prodigal son, years ago.
But it was, again, memories.
That's it.
Alan and I live on memories.
Well, you're making new memories, right?
What?
You're making new memories.
We make new memories the next day.
That's it.
The next day, the day before, it's memories already. It happened, but Alan, and I have that attitude. Life is good.
Right, and that was the episode that we just shot. Was called "Life Is Good," and it was good. It's interesting. And we've done 7 episodes of Scriptless. We're looking forward to 8. We're going to get it looks like we're going to have a new editor, so we're going to get some new. Finally, we're going to have some new episodes being pumped out. I'm excited about that. So I guess also there's some other exciting news. David, your son, my brother, said, Daddy, You know, Daddy was always acting Sergeant Corporal. I mean, acting Sergeant Corporal Bendich. You have a little bit of a hiccup over there. So, you know, let's try to. You know, you always during World War II, your function was that. You know, you had to be a sergeant to do the things that you were doing in terms of ordering, right?
But when promotions came, it was promotions.
Right.
But in between,
yeah.
So they needed a sergeant.
Yeah.
So I was Corporal Bendich before,
yeah.
and I was in charge of. We were in the Signal Corps,
right.
and we were in charge of, and we were good, Alan.
I know.
They took us away. No, they took us away from one thing to make telephones,
right.
and we became clerks. And the clerks usually, the first sergeant has a clerk, and I was one of the clerks, and was a corporal, but I had to do the work of a sergeant.
Right. So then the thing is that, so you did the work of a sergeant for a long time.
For a long time.
And they never gave you the stripe. Is that correct?
They
never gave you the stripe.
They never gave me a stripe because there were no promotions.
No, but the point was, though, that the person that had to, you had to be a sergeant in order to do the work that you were doing.
And believe it or not.
And you did that work.
And
you did it well.
And other corporals, like me, when I said something, it was okay, Sergeant.
Right, because you were acting sergeant.
Because I was.
So basically, that's David, my brother, said, you know, all the time that Dad was overseas during World War II, he was acting like a sergeant, and it was called an acting Sergeant Corporal Bendich. Let's try to get him a stripe, you know, one more stripe to make his corporal a full sergeant. And I said, okay, you know, what the hell? We talked about it. And then I have a friend who I know since I'm 4 years old, Dory Engel, and she's a dear friend of mine. We went to camp together, and Dory Engel's brother is Elliot Engel, and Elliot Engel is the congressman, I think, even from Mamaroneck, for where we are right now. And so I contacted his office, based on David wanted me to do it, and I told him, you know, what happened to you, and also the reason, which we won't get into, why we thought that this happened and why you weren't promoted. And his office is looking into getting you that stripe, even though it's 50 years later. So isn't that great?
Great.
It's 60 years later.
First of all, it'll be a new Bendich, Sergeant Bendich.
There it is.
And I'm going to make sure that maybe the Daily News has.
Oh, believe me, Pop. If this happens, it might even be on TV because Elliot will take care of that. So I'm excited, and I have to thank Dory Engel too, because Dory was the person. And thank you, Dory. I really appreciate it. She actually got in touch with her brother, and then his office called and emailed me last week. Me? And the next thing we're doing is. We have this meeting on Friday, so it's exciting.
Now, first of all, I'm excited to see Elliot Engels.
Well, you're not going to see him.
You won't see him.
We're going to be seeing the people who work for him. We're going to go to his office. But you met Elliot a few times.
I know
in
him.
Co-op City and things like that. He was always walking around in Co-op. He's a nice guy, and I've known him through his sister. I hate to say how long, but it's 55 years. So 55 years. I can't believe I know anyone 55 years. But I know Dory a long, long time, and she's a wonderful person, real wonderful person.
It'll be a new experience.
That's it.
And I always told you one thing. Every day when you wake up, there should be a new experience for you.
Right. Or at least a new episode of The Way to Go.
All right. That's a new experience this way, a new experience. And it feels good to get a new experience.
So the summer's almost over, Pop. Did you have a good summer?
Well, and I'm glad. First of all, about New York. Anyway, that's what I think. We never had a summer as cool as this August.
Really?
August, you go, many times the sun is shining. I'm one of the people who walk up and down. I love to walk, and I'm always on this. When I see the shade, I go across the street for this, and that's the kind of attitude that I have.
Right.
The sun is always shining, and August, they say the dog days of August.
Right.
Alan, these were maybe the cat days.
So what happened to global warming?
That's no, Alan. I'm serious.
Right.
Cool. And I take advantage of it, Alan.
I know.
I feel good.
That's good. So I'm happy that I called you 4:15 today to remind you to come to the show. But so do you like? I mean, you must like this. This is part of your life now, right? The Way to Go is definitely a part of your life.
Alan, I remember the first day, and I'm only going to say this a few times.
Yeah.
There was never a more scared person than me in the whole world.
Right.
But we sat down,
Right.
and we continued it and continued it. We're still talking. We're still friends. That is the idea.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
No, wait, no. I told you this also. In all my life,
We never talked this much.
I never spoke to you as much as I
Well, the thing is,
talk
also,
to you
you know,
in these episodes.
right now, like I'm pretty close with my son and with my daughter, but you know, you were always working.
That's it. And I also said one thing: the children don't know as much. I mean, I don't know as much as myself. That the children know more about you, about me, about your father.
Well, that's the same thing. Like Aaron, a lot of times I think I'm telling him a new story, or Kara. When I tell them I think I'm telling them a new story, and they already know every aspect of that story. And the same thing happens with me and you. You think that you haven't said something, but I must have heard it like for 50 years, you know? So, I mean, that's the way it is, right? It just, same thing happens. What happened to you is happening to me, it will happen to Aaron, and that's the way it is.
And Alan, I'm an optimist. I told you that.
Yeah.
And I know what happened to me. Not bragging or something.
Right.
When I see the other people in Kitay House,
Right.
I feel good what's happening to me, Alan.
Well, Daddy, the other thing is, even when I was talking to the people at Elliot Engel's office, they were trying to get me to get a power of attorney, because they didn't, you know, they couldn't. Their initial thought was, how could a person 99 years old assign their own name, have their own mind? I said, you could talk to. I don't need a power of attorney, you know. I said, he wanted to meet with me. I said, would you like to meet with Max too, my father too? He said, I would love to. I mean, he just assumed that a person who's 99 years old can't be moved, you know? And
but again, there's a possibility.
yes.
Why? Because people could say to you, oh, how, no, 99 or whatever age, 80, even in the 70s, you don't look 70, you look,
Right.
it's a lie.
Right.
You may look terrific and everything,
But you are.
but your body knows
How
how
old
old you are.
Right.
And you better listen to your body.
But the interesting, I mean, I know people who are younger than me, whose body is telling them that they're older than me. I mean, people, you know, it's really how you treat yourself also.
Alan,
Right?
look, we are not controlled over certain things.
Well, there's certain things you are in control of: smoking, drinking. I mean, the things that are poisons, that other than the air that we breathe and the water that we drink, you know, I mean, people who smoke, you know, or people who drink too much or whatever, or substances.
When I was a kid,
I mean, that's the way
one
it is.
thing we were lucky. Our group, I must have been about six kids, none of us smoked.
Right.
But even when the cigarettes were up, it was 10 cents a pack.
Right.
But the candy store man would love to sell them at a penny, singly.
Yeah.
Here's, you have 20 cigarettes for a dime,
Yeah.
and here we can get, if you
20 cents, right.
20 cents for
For the same amount.
And not only all the
Everyone sold
candy-
single cigarettes.
all
And
the
you know what, Dad? What happened, I would say 10 years ago, because I take the subway to work every day, there was a lot of unemployment and there still is, but in New York, especially in certain parts of the population. So when you go into the subway, people would actually sell you, would try to sell you single cigarettes for like 25 cents or 50 cents, whatever it is, or $1. And that's what they still do it now, that's how, it's rough out there.
But actually, they weren't supposed to do it.
That's against the law.
I know, because sometimes a rough policeman or something, but they usually, if I think, I haven't seen that, I think they will let them do a thing like that.
Well, there's a guy actually who got killed for, I think, selling Lucy's or whatever it was, loose cigarettes they called it, recently. And that's a big issue that's happening. He got into a chokehold. It's been in the news recently.
Things like that. I don't want to hear.
I know. Why? You like to walk on the sunny side of the street, right, Pop?
Always. There's always a sunny side of the street.
That's it.
And look at me. I mean, the whole thing is look at me.
Right.
I'm trying my best.
And you're still here.
I don't overdo things.
Right.
I listen to the doctors. I
know.
No, I jokingly say.
I know.
When I go for an examination,
Yeah.
boy, you look good. Because of you, I look good.
Right.
You give me the pills. Because of you, because you take care of me over here.
Right.
And they feel good, and I feel good. And we don't see each other sometimes for about, we have a new doctor,
Right.
in the Veterans Administration.
In
the Veterans
Right.
Administration.
Do you still see Reyes? Is Reyes still your doctor?
No. I went for the examination.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, something happened. I don't know what it was, politics or something.
Right.
And I come for an examination. He said, look, hey, boy, you look all right, but I can't examine. I said, I have an appointment.
Right.
You have a new appointment, 2015. I said, what are you, a year from now? I'm sorry,
Right.
listen to me. Your next appointment is 20, and then what have you been reading?
Right.
It's a shame, but I don't know why.
I've heard there's a lot of problems with the VA.
That they are having too many people.
Is it cost-cutting measures? Is that the whole thing? Or are they trying to save money at the VA?
It has. That's it.
That's it. The problem is,
there are
2015. You're going to be 100, Pop. So.
I no, and Joe, no. He wasn't talking about because I was going to be 100,
Right.
but because 2014 is going to be now.
Right.
So
You have to wait.
We have to wait a year.
Wow.
But he says, I'm glad you came here.
Right.
You look good. You look fine, and I know I'm going to see you in next year, and we'll be talking together.
Amen.
Well, I don't know what. But we joked around.
I know. We usually say Baruch Hashem. That's what we usually say.
Always.
I know.
Alan.
So, but that, the thing is, you look great, and it's and you feel great, right?
I feel great.
That's it.
I feel great. And what happens also?
What?
New experiences come up.
And it makes you feel good.
Scriptless.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm in a movie called Scriptless.
Well, it's actually like a soap opera. It's a television show that they make. We do it with LMC TV.
Who cares? Is a soap opera a movie?
Well, it depends. A movie's like a film. Soap opera's like a television show. But you're right.
All right. Mm-hmm. And it's going to happen. We're going to have a television show, something like that.
We have it already.
We have it already. And it's a new, again, it still is a new experience.
Right.
I'm still a little scared.
Well,
Why?
yeah.
Because it's, look, this just
I know,
happened.
like we
This
did.
just happened.
I know. Sunday was when we filmed last, and I didn't give you any scenario ahead of time because I figured maybe you wouldn't remember it anyway. And we all come in, right? And okay, and it was hilarious. The funny part was that you were supposed to say to the same question to one actor, you were supposed to say yes. And then the same question that I ask you, you're supposed to say no to the same exact question. But for some reason, you said, instead of saying yes to him, you said no. And instead of saying no to me, you said yes. So that was funny. But everyone loved working with you. And one of the actors who you liked, Anthony Avini and Chrissa Petridou. She sings our theme song. But Anthony said, I never met a guy who was 99 years old, He said that. He never met a person who was 99 years old.
That's what I like about what I'm doing, because I'm meeting people who are younger than me.
Well,
haven't
everyone's younger than you.
I know. I jokingly say that. But not only is everyone younger than me, I have never met anybody older than me looking for these kind of jobs.
Oh, no, you're the only person.
I don't know. And I'm looking at movies and everything, and I think there is a big place for older people to come into the movie. To come into a movie, maybe they've been old actors. They stopped, but I'm doing it.
Right, and you're having fun, right? I mean, it is fun.
And I'm having a wonderful time.
And you also the thing about acting, first of all, it's like really good for the ego. But it's also, I mean, you're working with people who, especially when you're appreciated, when they like working with you, it makes everything, I mean, and everyone loves working with you.
I try to put myself into what they want.
Right.
Alan, that's the whole thing. And with scriptless, remember, usually a new scene comes up, here's a script. The words are there. You can make a comedy out of the words if you want to, or you can make them sad. But with scriptless, no scripts.
Right, but you have a story. There's a story.
You have a story, and the story has to come out
of your mouth. I give you the story, Alan, and you have to tell it.
Why are you laughing? Out of your mouth. That's right. Because, like, we talk to each other. Right.
But one thing I found, okay, I think it's easier for you to do scenes with me, and maybe because of the show, because already we know that we look. It's comfortable for us to look each other in the eye and to BS back and forth. I think it's a little bit more difficult when you have new people for you to get that connection, because I felt, especially the scene that we did together, I felt, and even Anthony said, it was like there was a real connection, and how much more of a connection can you have with the father and son? But it was, and there's also a trust that if you miss something, I'll pick it up, or vice versa.
I know it.
That's it.
And there's trust. Right. I like that word. I would never use it because I don't know that. I mean, I don't think of it that way. Certain words I don't think about, but you help me out. I try to help you out.
And we're connected. And the other thing is, I always tell you, I know you're slightly hard of hearing, so I say, don't say, what'd you say? That's the one thing I tell you.
How many? Don't let.
I know.
I can't hear, and then I'm not. I don't say it, Alan. I don't say it. I'm getting used to it, and eventually it's going to happen. Then I'm going to have a hearing aid.
Yeah, I think that would be actually. I know it probably you're afraid it'll take away from your lovely looks, but I think that the most important thing, I think for acting, it's good to hear what the other actors is saying, right?
Oh, I hope.
It makes it a little bit easier. So I'm excited. We've done 7 episodes, Bob. 7, and it's and no end in sight.
And that's now again, no end in sight.
But one thing I'm thinking of though, I mean, I love the way it's going, but I don't know. Wendy's coming up. My wife Wendy is now coming up with alternative stories that we could use, because scriptless is basically the name of the show, or whatever it is. It's a type of show, so it's like an improv show, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be the same exact story all the time, or it could be, it could change at any point, and it's still scriptless, because the scriptless aspect of it means there's no script. But I like the way it's going now. We have some unbelievable actors and actresses, including you, and it's fun to direct. I'll tell you again. Dina might not, say it's, she's the one who suggested that or she asked the question, are you going to direct? And I think that was like the greatest question she ever asked. And,
no, but again,
yes.
When I watch movies,
yes.
I know 2 things. This scene, there's from script. The other scene is and it happened. They help each other out.
Right.
And
you could tell.
Alan, you can tell.
And the other thing about it sometimes, when you see the unscripted things, when it looks almost more comfortable because it looks like it's more conversational.
It is. No, it's more comfortable because all of a sudden the answer is yes, and you're finished.
Right.
But that's what you could say. But scriptless, the answer is yes, and yet, I could keep on talking about something.
But I always say, keep it short.
And yet, keep it short, because again, I watched. There's a certain time limit almost for every scene now. Right. Sometimes it could be a few seconds. They'll look at your face and then come back again.
But the other thing is, you can also tell sometimes when you're watching, or even when you're directing or acting, that the scene's either is too short or too long. There's like a natural place where it should end.
Only in things like scriptless. Right. Why? Because there's no words.
No script, you mean?
I think it could go. It has to be in your mind for every scene.
Right. And since I'm the one who comes up with the story, the thing that I'm always hoping that there's a natural end to what's going on, because sometimes those scenes go on for like 7-8 minutes, and it gives a lot for the editor to cut. But it's like, wow, it's just too much.
But I've heard you say. I doubt if we had 7 or 8 minutes.
We did, but not recently. It was like one of the earlier episodes in your apartment.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
All right, but
it was good. And it was with Noah, and it was actually one of the first episodes we did. It was good.
Well,
and what do you think of our crew?
Of what?
Of our crew, the cinematographer,
Alan,
Louis Simons, and how about Andre? He's a
You know
young
what
guy. He's unbelievable.
You know, when I start thinking about them, when it's all over, and then we don't have to talk about anything about the show or anything. We're talking about each other. And I hear them talking to each other, and I hear this, and
it's so professional. The thing I like, you know, I mean, at the end, Lou takes out the list, and we go through each one. I mean, he's so professional. And you know, we all work together to make sure everything's there. And it's volunteer work.
And Alan, I think you left a sheet.
Yes.
Of just what you said. The list of all the things you
I
have.
left it in your office, in your house?
Yeah,
but it was all checked off. But you could see that
everything was checked off.
Twice, because there were 2 locations.
Alan, everything. And I'm looking at it.
These guys are so
glad.
good.
I thought you did it on purpose.
No, believe me.
I thought you did. So that and Alan, I have it right in front of me. And every now and then, I just look at it. I mean, you can't read.
It's a nice memory. Right?
It's a very small print.
Right, I have to put on my reading glasses to do the checking.
No, I don't care. But I know what it is.
Right.
And Alan, I'm in it.
That's it. You're in it, Pop. And you're the reason why we did it. Because I didn't want you to have to audition. It's easier to have a show rather than having to always audition. But I'm still trying to get you more auditions. I mean, I want you to start working on other projects. And I guess I haven't been as focused as I used to, but that's something I have to work on.
Please, you're focused. Don't worry. You can take it from me.
Well, you know what I'm focused in on right now, Pop?
What?
Some bad news.
All right.
It's one last thing to say. That's a wrap. Good night, folks.